I'm out here working in the middle of the night, ready to talk about some changes to Amazon Relay and answer some questions I get in the comment section of having this channel. First things first, I'm gonna put chapters in this. I get weird statistics from YouTube. It tells me that like some people who tune me in only watch my shorts, other people only watch my videos, and that like there's this portion that watches both. I'm gonna put chapters in it because I value your time, and I have covered some of these in shorts. If you've already seen them, you can go ahead and skip ahead, but that's why I'm putting chapters in it. All right, so first big change, adjustable pickup times. Now keep in mind, this is not on every single load. It's signified when you're looking at the load board. If there's a little pencil adjacent to like the first location, it comes with an adjustable pickup time. And what that means is there's going to be a default pickup time. Like let's say they want it picked up at like 2 p.m. but then you click on it and you have the ability to say like, 2 doesn't work, maybe 2:30, 3. Long story short, I've seen some of these loads have as few as like a couple hours and as many as like 12 hours to be able to pick up the load, to basically set your scheduled arrival time. This is like a game changer because I can't tell you how many times I've been an hour and 15 minutes away from a load that starts in an hour. It kind of is like reminiscent of like old Amazon before they had this whole ineligible driver thing, because now let's say you do see like a real profitable load that, let's say there's like multiples of them. Like, the classic example I think of is like the Sand 3 to Sand 5 little moves, the little half-mile moves that, in the past they used to pay like $200 for. Before there was an ineligible driver thing, you could book all three, even if all three started at the same time, assign yourself as the driver, and then just go knock them out. And as long as you were done before the last one was supposed to start, you were good. Today with that ineligible driver thing, you can't do it. But now, and I haven't seen this situation yet, but it's kind of like I'm kind of let a guy dream for a minute. I'm looking at this as like, if they were to drop those, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll do this one. Let's say it's, 11. I'm going to schedule the pickup time or the start time for the next one at 12. And I'm going to do the third one at like 1 o'clock. And then you're an eligible driver. You're an eligible, not ineligible. I don't want to mince my words there. You're eligible to take all three. So I see this as a potential game changer. But just, if you're looking at the load board, you see that little pencil next to it, just know that you now have some control over when the load starts. I'm in a long line of trucks here waiting to check in. Perfect time to tell you about the Relay Bot. This is, it's currently in beta. Full disclosure on this, I have not booked a load through it yet, but what it is you type in your search criteria and it comes up with, it says like, hey, we've got this high priority load in your area that matches, this is the current rate, and you're talking to AI. Now, I never like it when you remove the human component to something. It's like, oh, you're talking to a computer, great. And again, I have not booked a load through it. I've seen it, but not booked a load through it. And it is, and apparently you can respond to the AI and give it like, can we move the start time to this? And can we also increase the rate to this? And it like addresses you in like real time, kind of like a person. Maybe it is a person, I have no idea. But anyway, I see this as like an opportunity as far as, I'm all about like, I've done videos on how to protect yourself, how to protect your grade and Amazon Relay. I see this as like a huge opportunity for you to protect yourself. You can bet that if I ever do book something through this Relay Bot, the first thing I'm going to do is turn on screen record. A couple of reasons. One, I can't show their proprietary training stuff on the internet. I would be out of line in doing that. But in the example they show in like training you how to do it, it's, it gives this example of like somebody does a search and it comes up and it says, we've got a current load paying like $280 in your area and it starts at this time. And the person responds back with like, it says, do you have a truck available? Person responds back saying yes. And then they're like, can you bring the rate up to like $400? And then the Relay Bot responds to him and says like, what is your justification for this? And the person's like, well, I have 40 miles of deadhead. And the Relay Bot responds to the person saying like, well, the most I can do is 320. And the next thing they show is that the load is then like accepted by the driver. Like it's like it goes for 320. If I'm negotiating for 400 and the thing tells me 320 is its best price, but then it assigns me the load, that's that's not going to be okay with me. I mean, that's just one of those things that wouldn't be okay. So, you know, I wish they had kind of gone into like a deeper dive into their training on this, because like I hope that there's a screen that says 400 we can't do, but 320 we can. Is this acceptable? But even in their own training, the person's asking for 400, and then it says, nope, 320 is the best, here's the load, and then they're stuck with it. The other thing about it, and this I have seen firsthand, I was kind of paying attention to the load board. I think they had a Vegas one on there. It was on the load board for like $1,200. Well, the next thing you know, the little relay bot comes on to me and says like, hey, we've got a high priority load going to Vegas for $900. It was the same load. So I would like caution anybody using this. I mean, if it's such a high priority load, the price shouldn't be going down. It should be going up. So before you hit that little moving text bubble that's kind of going back and forth at the top or bottom of your screen, depending on how you have your phone set up, before you click on it, take a look at the load board first, get an idea of like what things are paying, and be sure that the rate that they're offering you is at least the same, hopefully more, on this alleged high priority load they're offering you through the relay bot. And last and certainly not least, the remote check-in hack. I know I'm not the only one who's made a video on this. I've seen other content creators make videos on it, but you know, if you were doing a load for Amazon that was like, let's say an ABA, and you get to stop A, you take a trailer to B, and then you're supposed to bring an empty trailer back to B, but you get to B and they're like, no, there's no trailer, we're gonna bobtail you. Historically, you've been able to do this little trick going in there. I've made a video about it in the past where you can report arrival issue, app not detecting arrival, and it would kind of check you in even though you were at spot B. Felt a little nefarious doing it. I was confident in making a video about it because it was taught to me by an ROC agent, but got an email from them end of August saying that if you continue to do it through this method, it will affect your performance score. It will be like it kind of looks, they're basically telling us to not do it anymore, that that reporting arrival issue won't work, and it will count against you. So if you are doing it, definitely you want to stop doing it. I will say Amazon has gotten pretty good as far as, I mean, how it was taught to me was to only use it in the last leg of the trip. Now, after making the video, I heard from a bunch of people saying like, oh, I use it at the beginning, I use it at the middle. I never used it this way because that's not how I was told to use it from the ROC agent. If people were told something different, that's fine. I followed the direction. I'm kind of torn on this. I mean, I know I've heard some like grumbling from others saying like, this is crap, you know, they're making us waste miles driving there. The way I see it is the load that I signed up for, let's say it's 100 miles there and 100 miles back. I signed up for 200 miles. If I have to drive back that extra 200 miles with no trailer on my back, those are cheap miles for me. I mean, I originally did sign up for it, and I feel like I kind of have to do my part. It did always feel like I was getting away with something, kind of still being at spot B, having those 100 miles to go, and kind of saying like, great, Amazon, go ahead and pay me for this. I'm going to start looking for my next load there. So I'm kind of torn on it. I mean, I do see where it's like it was convenient to use before, but to Amazon's credit, I do feel like they've done a pretty good job of, not really canceling those legs, and if they or not canceling them, but not having you bobtail to them. And my battery died. You know how much it pisses me off when I'm almost done talking and it's low battery and it just shuts off. Just treat me like I'm new, treat me like I'm stupid. Apparently this is my first YouTube video. Don't know what I'm doing, but long story short, on that remote check-in thing, you just can't do it anymore. If you sign up for a trip and they bobtail you on the last leg, you still have to drive the last leg. If you continue doing the way that I've shown you in the past, that has historically worked in the past, they will hold that against you. It will count against your performance score, and it will not count as a valid check-in. They've made that clear with the email that they sent out at the end of August. All right, so let's switch this up a little bit. Let's try to answer some questions here in real time. I have Nancy Myers writes me. She says, thanks for your info. I'm new here. Where do you go on your truck? And do you work in your truck? First and foremost, Nancy, let's see if I'm talented enough to do this with the cameras. Welcome. I do work in my truck. I'm primarily out of, find a good place to hang this. I primarily work out of San Diego. That's where I live, so most of my work here is in San Diego. I try to stay as local as I can. I mean, do I work in the truck? Yep, I'm working in the truck right now, picking up an Amazon load. In the past, I've done a lot of I've worked for Amazon a lot more than I have recently. They're not the only thing that I do, but in the past they've been a big part of what I do. Since Prime Day ended in July, their rates have really come down, and I've been working for other people. It's kind of the cool thing of being an owner-operator. You get to you gotta get to pick and choose who you work for, and Amazon has been a big part of my past. I'm hoping they're a big part of my future, but lately their rates just haven't made sense. As far as like the furthest I've been in the truck, I've been to Phoenix and Vegas, and I know for a truck driver that's not very far. I mean, some of these guys do OTR and are out over the road all the time. I'm married, have 2 kids, and I like staying home and staying local with them. But ultimately, end of the day, I go where the money's at. And so far, for me in this, what I've been doing, the money has been better staying local, and it kind of meshes with my life more. But if that were to change, you know, if they made the money right to do OTR, the truck is set up to do that. I am licensed and insured to do that, so I would do that. All right, next up here, HCH Play wants to know, hey Stat, I just learned Amazon does intermodal. Is it possible to look at intermodal loads in Tampa, Florida, if possible? Of course it is. Let's do it. First thing I'm going to say about intermodal is I know for sure there's 2 things. Now, I'm not speaking from firsthand experience here. I just know that these are things that are required. You have to be signed up with, I always forget if it's UIAA or if it's UIAA or UIIA or this is me trying to multitask. I always forget if it's UIAA or UIIA. I'll have the link come up on the screen, but for sure, you have to be signed up with them. And then you do need to have, they have an insurance requirement. I know for me, my first year I didn't have it, but my second year I checked on it to get it. I think it made like a $300 a year difference for me to meet the insurance requirement that they did. It was just to haul intermodal stuff. But those are 2 things you absolutely have to have. I have kind of opted out of doing it just because where I'm at, like the railroads are popular up in like LA, Ontario area, but just San Diego, there's, if I'm up there, there might be a load, but it didn't make sense for me to do it. But let's take a look here at Tampa, Florida for HCH Play and just see what these loads are looking like. So let's just see here, Tampa, Florida. And I found with them, they're kind of hit or miss. It's like you're either gonna have a bunch of them or you're gonna have none of them. So let's see here, power only, and only looking at like 53-foot containers, not reefers. How about a 45-foot container, a 40-foot container, 20, 45, 40. That's going to be everything that like will be a intermodal. Let's apply that and search. We'll space that out to like 75 miles. Search loads. Tampa, Florida has 10 of them right now within 75 miles. Let's see here, price per distance highest. Oh, it won't let me sort that because I don't have, I have blocks in there. So let's take out blocks. There's still 10. Price per distance highest. Best load on the board right now is $1.24. Looks like they all come out of Davenport. $1.24, $1.24, $1.24, $1.24, $1.24, $1.24, and $1.23. Then if you're willing to go 133 miles of deadhead, they do have some coming out of Port St. Lucie, Florida. But I mean, you know, right now, $1.24 a mile doesn't have me super excited to go get that extra insurance and sign up with a UIIA or UIAA, whichever one it is. So yes, they do, but it is definitely hit or miss. It's hit or miss here. I'm making the assumption it's hit or miss everywhere, but that's what it looks like right now. And lastly, TikToker3241 was sending me a thank you. They were thanking me for making a load board video for them. They wanted to see 53-foot equipment in Detroit, Michigan. You're very welcome. I'm happy to do it. If you're watching this and you would like to see a load board video made for your areas to help you better gauge, you know, what the Amazon relay system looks like in your area, I'm happy to do it. You know, I'm not selling anything here. There's no course. But that being said, I never want to like misrepresent what I'm doing. I'm always happy to kind of give you a glimpse into what I see, and that way hopefully you can better gauge your market and kind of, you know, if Amazon is going to be a big part of your business, better gauge, you know, what you're getting into. You know, I want to provide good information to you, and I've been doing this long enough to know that like in some areas Amazon is really good, and you know, just down the road 100 miles away it's not as good. So you know, it's always changing. That load board updates every 15 seconds, and long story short, I'm happy to make these load board videos for you. You just got to let me know and I'll turn one out for you. But TikToker3241, happy to do it for you. Anytime you want to see it again, just let me know. So got those 3 big changes covered, and answered some questions in real time. You know, if you want to stay on top of some of this Amazon stuff, I try to stay on top of it. So be sure and stay tuned for stuff like that. Let me know in the comments. You know, trying something new tonight, trying to answer these questions in real time. I want you guys to know that I appreciate you spending the time with me. I value your time, and I am paying attention to what you say, and I don't want you to ever think that I'm over here ignoring you. So let me know, do you like this kind of format of me answering questions? Would you like to see it in the future? As always, I hope this video serves you well. Appreciate you for watching. Take care.